folks, here comes the tedious part, but if you do this right, everything turns out beautiful. Anywho, I set this at 1.75 inches. It gives me, these go up to about 2 inches screwed in with a few threads. You only need a few, you know what I mean? Because you should, if you install these right, with the thin setting around it, it locks it in place, and it can already take weight because it's holding thread. Anywho, give it enough. I give it plenty. So it's 1 3/8 inches, and that's going to be finished base. Now you have to make up for the tile, which is 3/8, and then the thin set, which I don't know. Some guys do 1/8, quarter, whatever. It's big tile, so we're gonna quote it 1/4. So keep that in mind. So I'm gonna back it down a single turn, right? So that'll be 1.25 inches now. Most likely, I'll measure it to make sure. I always mark the directions just in case, you know, I bump it. Sometimes I go like that because I have this piece of wood in an angle. I just want to get that point to that point perfect, and I'll throw it back. You know, every rotation changes the measurement, so keep it right. I have 2 inches marked up on the wall. This is the high point anyway. So I mark this 2 inches. That's the minimum I want my thickness of my base with my sand mix. That's gonna give the structure for the tiles to rest on. Okay, so that's my minimum is 2 inches. So it's gonna be my high point, so everywhere else will be thicker. Follow that, sweet. So now what I'm gonna do essentially, I'm gonna put this board across, sorry about that, to that mark, and then I'm gonna turn this bad boy to that mark. I'm gonna make it square with the room. And I'm gonna make sure it's at least 1/4 bubble. It's gonna be. I want a 1/4 inch drop per foot. Okay, so I'm gonna throw the measurement, the level on top of that to make sure it's right, and you'll see the next. All right, now that I can have everything set up in one hand, it's touching that mark. It's a little low on that mark, it looks like. And it's on the edge of there, right? Look at that. So that's more than 1/4 bubble, that's a lot. We don't need all that. It's just excessive for this little area. And again, that side's a little low, so it's even worse. So we'll adjust that for that and that. Adjusted, 1.1/8 inches height up, 2 inch mark. That's a perfect level line. I'm gonna take that and go all the way around with it as a guide. All right, you see that mix? So I can crumble it in my hand and it stays together. But if you just push it too much, it'll crumble apart. That's what you want. You want to be able to take a stick from here to your line and screen it around. Obviously it's way high at the moment, so we'll bring a bunch down. You can see the line, sorry guys, you can see the line there now, right? So we're pretty damn close there. So I'm just going to take this bad boy until it's close, which is about there, because the line's right here. Okay, and then now we're going to see the big belly. We're going to bring that out. So we're going to do that all the way around, and then we're going to start tamping it down, and it'll be tamped down to the mark, most likely. But that's the plan. I'll show you when there's more on there, and I'll show you the process, but that's one bag. Obviously it looks like 4 here, or a little less because I have to screed that out. Who knows how much that covers? You'll see. Alrighty folks, don't forget your gloves. We are close to the finish line here. I started making the mix a little wetter just because I know it cures better that way rather than just, you know, very dry sand. And yeah, that's about it. So again, I just have this little bit left to do. And I'm actually tempering it down through the edges, just so it's a little bit under that that line I put on the wall, you know. So it still breaks up when you really push it around, but it's It's got that good sandal. This thing's going along the whole way. If it digs in this side, I don't really care that much, you know what I mean? Because I'm just going to touch that up. It's more important to get this edge perfect all the way around. I can patch these in quick and easy. You know, the important part is the end. I want to dig down and see that line down here. Like that. Bring it around. Again, I'm going to powder some around because there's a little belly here, a little valley, not a big deal. Just bring it around where it should be. Again, I know there's some people screaming at the screen right now, but 12 people that are watching. But there's a different way. You know there is. I'm a carpenter, not a tile guy. But I've become pretty good at doing tiles, so just keep trying to do it how I've been doing it because it's been working well for me. You know? Bring this around. Got a couple bellies here, valleys, ass, whatever you want to call them. Just get your loose on there. Kind of shake it around a bit. Give it a high streak. And then it's a little bit above that line. And then tamp it down. Again, you start from the line, you kind of work your way in. It's just a little easier. It'll be more perfect that way. Like all here is pretty perfect except a couple little inclusions here or whatever. Which absolutely nothing. Fix it up. Come back. This corner. This truck. This is again, under 4, so this is about 44 or something by 3 foot, a little under of shower base. Width both ways. So keep that in mind. I used 3 bags, 60 pound, same mix for this. Basically what it took. So now I'm just getting every spot that's a little off. See holes anywhere. Again, I'm going to screw this thing off and it's going to make all kinds of mess right here. But that's not the end of the world. There's my north. It's not the end of the world because I'll just patch that up with some thin set later. Because this is going to be higher. Make sure you want this to go a little bit lower than where it's at. So when I'm done, you got to take that out. If you don't take that out when you're done, you kind of screwed yourself. Typically, I would use a pipe in there, put it right in, and then fill it in, and then take the pipe out later with the same threading, but I don't have one. So, whatever. Do what you got to do. Your modeling. Now, I'm trying to get this belly out of here. See how much I'm able to move out of there? Because there's a belly right here. Sorry if my elbow's in your way, but I need it more than you do. And all this is excess. Still see the line. Again, I just went under the line so I can see it. If you go right to the line, well, Good luck seeing the fucking line. Stomp it down. Again, I made it a bit wet. I'm a bit of an amateur when it comes to this. You know, my end products are good, but there's some old school guys out there that do sand mix and base and do tile every fucking day. That just blow me out of the water. But you know, we all come in doing something. It's carpentry. I'd embarrass most people. Most people, not all. So that's just really good. Make sure that is right where you want it. I'm going to sponge this to give it the texture I like as well. Because my tiles are going to stick. I'm going to get a little bit shorter stick. Another thing, there's a lot of clients that I have that love throwing shit out before they should. Just because, you know, they're not very good people. That's awesome. But, you know, sometimes I really need that little piece of wood to do something. So I try to make it as a habit to inform people. So they're not throwing out stuff on me. I'm gonna get in there and tear it out. Yeah, the problem with the wet mix is you can see it like jiggling around. That's kind of what you don't want, because there's going to be shrinkage. The sand mix, you just want to tap it and powder, press it in. It's going to cure if you give it time. And then you don't have to have inclusions everywhere. Like, I don't know, everywhere. A couple spots, you know. A little bit here, a little bit there. It's not the end of the fucking world. I don't care about stuff like that, because that's all going to get a nice fat coat of thin set, as long as the majority of it's perfect where I want it, or need it rather. That's pretty damn good. A little pop hole right there, it all fits. Yeah. There you go. You see how that's not really filling up? It's just a spot. You gotta put some more powder in. My important parts are this way. Like that's a bit high on that side, and yeah, it's a bit high on this side, which is fine. I'm going to work that side more anyway. That's spot on. And you are a little low on that side because there's a belly right there. So just goodbye belly. Perfect now. Perfect. Alright. You want your edges perfectly level. I mean, if you can. It's always good. If you can't, well, there was something you weren't paying attention to, I presume. Clear this shit off. Yeah, it's too big of a belly. That's fine. See when you drop it like that and it's so severe? I mean, it's almost end to end, so it's going to be something, but it's a little more than a quarter. So since there's a kind of a space here, I'm going to start bringing shit into the center. That's where it needs to be anyway, it looks like. See how high it is now? All the extra material being pushed around. That corner's good, so I'm not going to fuck with it. So that's pretty good right there. But it's a bit high from here to there, so we're I'm going to take the smaller guy, eyeball our line, speed off that excess. You see all that? That's unneeded material. Bring it this way. Yeah, so that's all extras. Stuff like that's left. It's just a huge belly right here, and I'm trying to. It's only 4 tiles here, and it should be less than a quarter slope to the center, relatively. Nothing's perfect, but I don't want a huge slope because, again, 4 tiles and they're squares, and you need these corners to meet up properly. So we can't go too crazy with it. That's pretty damn good everywhere. So I'm just kind of bringing it down over this plate because there's excess material. Everything to be flat. This was a high side. Let's see where it's at now. Alright, still a little bit. We can work with that. Again, it's a little finicky. But if you do this right, you do it perfect, your whole job just benefits from it, obviously. It just turns out the way it should. I'm just going to start bringing this side out. And it really helps it make it look nice too, because if you go everywhere at the level, it's bam, a little more than quarter bubble. So it's over than what we need. We don't need that much, honestly. So we can really bring the sides, work them down, bring it all to the center, make it real nice and even without having to add any material. It's going to be really nice. Again, I'm going to work this just like you're seeing all the way around. I'm going to do a little more tamping just for some air pockets or anything that might be there. It's all along the edges. This is the sandier mix, so it's already a lot better. But we're just going to start bringing it in. The wet stuff's a little easier to move around. But this side is pretty damn sweet. Yeah. That's a lot, but yeah, it's still good. We can screed it around. Sweet, we got plenty. Well, I'll see you when it's done. All right, there's our base. Now we can toss the level in every corner. You got the quarter bubble. Here it's going to be a little more severe because it's a shorter run, obviously. So 3/4 bubble, quarter bubble. This one should be less. It's yeah, a little over quarter bubble. Again, it's like that all the way around, so it looks great. Now I have a stick here. See that mark? Whoop, there you go. That's a 5/8 mark. I have 3/8 tile, so I just want to see because we need to lay it down. See a little bit of gap in the corner, a little bit of gap there, so there's a slight belly here, not a big deal. I just want to make sure with thin set my tile will reach, because that's the threading point I want. There's like, you know, there's like 4 turns down or whatever, maybe 1 more, whatever. But that's plenty enough. 5/8 to work with. It's a 3/8 tile. The rest will be thin set on this really strong base. That'd be perfect. So I'm happy with that. It's like that all the way around. I just double checked it. So that's, you know, sorry I couldn't really show you every process step by step and everything. It's too small of a bathroom. You can see where I'm working. That's it. It's all taken up. Sorry if you got dizzy there. Anywho, super important. You take out that basket for the drain to go down, the water to go down the drain. You gotta take this guy out. Because if this sets in, like you're screwed. Like there's no getting that out. You'd have to start breaking this up, and you don't want that headache. So you back it out all the way out. You're really cleaning those threads. I'll show you. If you don't do this step, you're really gonna be in a world of hurt. See all those threads down there? Just get your finger and wet it and just keep going back and forth, wet it, keep going back and forth, wet it, keep going back and forth. you're gonna see this, you're not gonna see it, but the water will be dripping down here. All the water that's in this cure does not get sucked up by the actual pour or the tamping and everything. The excess will just drip on out down that drain, as you can see a little bit. So it's good to really rinse off these threads, make sure they're super clean of anything, because you don't want to come back the next day, or if it's a couple days, you don't want to come back and hear all that crunching. Yeah, that's little granules. And that is a cross thread. You see how it just stopped? Back it up, take your time. That's a cross thread again. It's the end of the day, something's gonna fuck with you. All right, take it out again. It's doing something, so let's clean that. Get a little water on the finger. Give the old girl a little lube. And get her in there again. So I forgot a frame. Damn it, come on. This is why you do this. Because if you had to do this later, it would kind of suck. Oh, yeah, there's something it's in the thread. You can feel it wanting to go. There's just something in there. So it's good, it's good. This is a good thing. I just wanted to show you that. So really wrench it in there and start working it back out. Do that a few times. Don't take it out again. Because you want this to cure. You don't want to keep touching it with your fingers and bumping it. So just get it below where you're going to need it. Which that's plenty low. All right, that's almost all the threads. So back it out. Just do that a few times to be safe, you know? And then when it's spinning free like that, you know you're free and clear of any future issues. So I'm gonna have it about there. That's, maybe one more turn. Yeah, see how loose that is? They're always kind of like that. Because any water that gets behind the top can go into the threads, and there was grooves along the threads. So anyway, that's where it's gonna be. It's nice and sturdy. It's about the height for the tile and all. And when I do the tiles, I'm gonna put thin set in here and screw that down first, and then start laying the tiles. So when the thin set around that cures, it's nice and structural for, any body weight on this. I mean, they could take the body weight anyway because it's in enough threads and that thing's screwed to the plywood, blah, 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 but it's good to add support. It is plastic after all. So it's pretty sweet. And it's also good that it is thin set, because if in the future, if these tiles get changed, you could pop these tiles off, crack out that thin set and unscrew that bad boy again. And the base would most likely stay, most likely. Anywho, hope you all enjoyed. On to the next.